Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, the party is getting started at Dundee University Comedy Club, and this week we even had a countdown, going from strength to strength, folks. How you doing? It's a pleasure to be here on the internet with you again for our second episode of this Dundee Comedy Club open mic, and I've got some magnificent acts coming up for the show. But first, I'll give a wee talk about what's going on in the world right now. So let's talk. Coronavirus is hitting us all hard, financially especially. I noticed that money's a bit tighter now. I remember when I was a wee boy, I could have, with £1, I could go to the shops, get 2 cans of Coke, 3 Freddos, and a magazine. Nowadays, they have CCTV. So it's looking, got some good news the other day. Well, one of my old relatives sadly passed away, but in the will, apparently they left me a watch. I hope it's not a wind up. You might know about the Iron Man. It's it's a race of endurance and physical strength. And recently I did an Iron Man and I broke the record. Yeah, 20 shirts in under half an hour. Oh yeah. The pro athlete. And the way you stay healthy? You keep your teeth healthy. I'll tell you that. I have a really good toothpaste. I have an ultra-sensitive toothpaste. And this ultra-sensitive toothpaste, it gets really upset when I use other toothpastes. What can you do, eh? So as you say, my name's Conor, as you know. I think that's quite a normal name. People have weird names, weird ways of naming their children. There was a kid in my school, and the way he got his name was his parents tossed a coin. Yeah, so that's why he's called Tails. Well, each to their own, right? Each to their own. I remember my grandfather's last words before he died. He said, "You selfish boy. You selfish boy." So I took his advice, and now I'm a fishmonger. I was in the chemist the other day. So we're all in the chemist trying to be healthy and stuff. So I went to the chemist, and they said to me, "Conor, you need to stop taking vitamins." I said, "Why is that?" They said, "Because shoplifting is illegal." I don't really go traveling about much now because of the restrictions. I mean, which is great. I was quite what you'd call a nervous flyer. Always be a nervous flyer, and I'd need a member of the crew to sort of give me some comfort and just calm me down. One time I was quite nervous on the plane. Called over the cabin crew. I said, "Listen, I'm quite nervous. Can you just tell me, how often do these planes crash?" And she said, "Oh, they just crash once." After that, I was totally relaxed. But the last place I went to was Great Wall of China. Yeah, I went to China, Great Wall of China. Little fact for you, it's not made of China, right? So, worth making note of that. But there's no point in me complaining. Some people have it really tough. I saw my friend outside the hospital today, and he was crying. And I said, "Well, what's the matter, pal?" And he says, "Well, the doctor just told me I've got the big C." And I said, "What, cancer?" And he said, "No, dyslexia." It's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, this virus does scare people, and it scares me as well. But I'm glad. I feel like I'm young, but I've done everything I want to do. If this is perhaps the end of the world, I can say I've done everything I want to do. I've done it all. I even sniffed Coke once. Yeah, I sniffed Coke, but I got the ice cube stuck in my nose. Yeah. It's a good thing that you're not in the same room as me, because I've got some bad breath. Yeah, I ate some Scotch eggs earlier, which really upset the nurse at the Glasgow fertility clinic. Okay, it goes up from there. That's the most disgusting joke you'll get all night, I promise. So I was doing and I like to keep my mind active whilst in this lockdown. So I do a lot of crossword puzzles, and so does my brother. my brother was doing a crossword puzzle the other day. He said, "Listen, Conor, got this clue for you, right? It's the words are it's 2 words, 6, 7. It's a flightless bird from Iceland." I said, "That's easy. Frozen chicken." One thing I'm proud of, I am an avid campaigner for the preservation of endangered animals. Yeah, you should try my panda jam.
God.
I've had a lot of jobs in my time. One thing I used to do, I was a painter, and in fact, some of my work is on show at the National Gallery. Yeah, I did the skirting boards. So talking about doctors earlier, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing when I'm so I went to see my doctor the other day. And the doctor said to me, she says, "Conor, you need to stop masturbating." And I said, "Why is that?" She says, "Because I'm trying to examine you." So yeah, learn the hard way. I was I was trying to get an appointment. So hard to get a doctor's appointment now. So I'm in reception. I'm talking to the reception. I said, "Listen, I'm having real trouble now. I keep seeing these spots in front of my eyes. And the receptionist said, "Well, have you seen a doctor about it? Have you seen a doctor?" I said, "No, I don't see a doctor. I just see spots. I like, going to the butchers. That's good. I think it's important to support your local businesses. So sometimes I like to go to the butchers. Went to the butchers the other day. Says to them, "Hey, can I have a pound of sausages?" And he said, "Sorry, sir, we only serve kilos." I said, "Okay, I'll have a pound of kilos." Absolutely delicious, guys. You got to try the kilos. So talking about going to the chemist earlier. Now I'm not the only one having a hard time. My grandfather went to the chemist the other day. He asked for some Viagra, and he said, "Well, can I get it over the counter?" And she said, "Well, maybe after 5 or 6 pills." Folks, that's enough of my tripe. So I am gonna start the ball rolling, start the party going, right? And we are gonna bring on our first act for the evening. Now, this guy, I've seen him perform before. He's a very funny fella. You're gonna absolutely love him. So everyone, please give a warm welcome to my good friend, Christopher John Stevens.
Hey.
I guess we're going to the entire of Scotland and beyond. So for everybody from Dundee upwards, good evening, and from everybody in the Central Belt along with me, greetings, fellow captives. 330ml can of lager. That's what I've been reduced to. Never ends. Right, anyway. Sorry, I don't mean to be that start off on a downer. Obviously, COVID's affected us all, and we're all stuck in the houses doing gigs, but we're still enjoying ourselves. We're still having fun. In fact, I quite kind of like some of the restrictions the Central Belt are under, particularly the fact that we're to avoid all non-essential travel, because sometimes it just really gets to me, The fact that, I live in Hamilton and I've got to go to Glasgow. I used to go to Glasgow fairly regularly. So every time I went to Hamilton train station, every 50 minutes I hear the same announcement. Passengers should be advised that although some trains travel through the station at high speed and do not stop, please do not attempt to board these trains. Let's get one thing straight. Most of these trains carry freight or coal or sort of cleaning things. If you're the sort of person who sees a train that's full of skips with coal on them and looks at them and thinks, "Oh, I could get to Glasgow all the faster if I got on top of one of them," using public transport probably wasn't for you in the first place. Second worst one, but the first one's obviously, ladies and gentlemen, this is Glasgow Central lower level. Please like here for Glasgow Central upper level. Really, I was expecting Narnia. It's just strange that everything has had to change. Obviously, we're right in the middle of October, and one of the charities the charities that run that whole Go Sober for October thing have had to sort of rethink the strategy because there's literally no way we're going to get through the entire of this without having a drink every so often. So they changed it a little. So they say, okay, well, let's say not go sober for all of October, but you could, meet us halfway or meet us 3/4 of the way. Or if you like me, your local pub's closed down, so you've got no choice in the matter. Not that I'm still bitter about it or anything. But it's weird that it's sort of changing these things because there's all these sort of monthly charity events. Because obviously you've got the Go Sober for October, you've got the November's coming up, and you grow a mustache for Movember. You got the Go Dry for January. Yeah. I'm thinking though, if the charities are struggling, there are 9 months of the year that are ripe for having a different theme for each of them. So I had to think about it. So let's start with December because they missed that one out. They went straight to January. So go decimal for December. Don't use any fractions for the entire month. Go Febreze for February. Make sure all your acrylics and fabrics are clean and smell nice the entire month. Go March for March. Self-explanatory, that one. Go APR for April. Invest in low-cost loans from Wonga.com and Sunny for the entire month. Go Gay for May, unless you're already gay, in which case, okay, that one needs more work. Go Rune for June. Play a lot of Minecraft for the entire month. Particularly good one given the year we've just had. Don't die for July.
Yeah.
Go Smorgasbord for August. Yeah, kind of run out of steam when I got to the last couple of months. And embrace an alternative lifestyle, incorporating whatever changes are necessary for your diet and well-being, and generally making a positive contribution to society. For September. Completely run out of it. That one. I think I'm doing my best to avoid COVID-19, but it's just making me such a social pariah because I now can't go out in the street and not critique about everybody. If people get within that 2-meter zone around you, you just get so cross and angry about it because it's on all the TV, it's all on all the sort of health bulletins, and you can't really get angry with people. I mean, what do you say to them? Hey, you, get out my 2-meter diameter this instant. It doesn't sound right, does it? I mean, I'll come up with a couple of names for it. You could call these people 2-meter twats, invaders.
Yeah.
That's me running about suggestions. Feel free to pop it in the chat and comments if you want. I mean, it's getting where, you remember the days when they actually had signs up saying, "Please don't remove your motorcycle helmet when you're coming into the bank." People do that these days. They're literally getting the Peace Prize for not spreading germs. It's weird. I think hopefully we don't get a full second lockdown because I really just drove absolutely nuts by the first one, and the fact that I had to sit in and sort of watch all these sort of plane services and the internet and all these things, and it's not the programs themselves because the programs are really good and there's a lot of choice out there. It's more the fact that all these sort of catch-up services, not demand services. Now, I like an advert from time to time, fair enough, but rather than have adverts for things that you might buy, all these player services have the same 4 adverts on a loop constantly the entire time. It really is just like having a flatmate who's got Alzheimer's who continually tells you about your day. You're just sitting there going, yeah, I'm not going to say anything, but please don't mention this again. I got so annoyed from Peppa Pig telling me how to wash my hands that I didn't make it a lifetime. Ever since then, every morning at breakfast I have a bacon sandwich with a nice side of meerkat to go along with it. It's so hard to keep in train. I'll try to get into this whole online workouts and Joe Wick stuff. the new one, like they're doing this Les Mills thing. You know, Les Mills this thing, so you can now get Les Mills on demand. I got a bit confused. I got Les Dennis on demand. So what? Doing impressions about Coronation Street in the 1980s. I think the worst thing about the way the world's changed is the fact that I have to use the webcam. Not for this, obviously. It's great to have you here. Thank you, Conor, for inviting me. But it's just the other aspects of life, because I obviously have to work from home now, and obviously I don't do this as a day job, as you can probably tell. So I've got to go into a load of online meetings, and quite frankly, I'm getting a bit sick of it because of the way I look, because it's all these things like Microsoft Teams and all these Zoom calls. When you're sort of doing collaborative stuff, it's really weird because you obviously have a document on screen and everybody's face goes in the bottom right-hand corner. And every time I look at that, I just think, oh, I don't look good in those. I basically look like a drunk version of the Microsoft Office. It's true, literally, a letter in the center of the screen, and then I'll just pop up in the corner, and they'll be like, "All right, pal, you look like you're writing a letter there. Quality." Use actual whiskey for that joke, so I think I'll leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got a fantastic night of comedy ahead of you. Thanks very much. I've been Christopher John Stephen. Cheers.
Yeah. Outstanding.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, give it up for Christopher John Stephen. That was brilliant. And I totally agree with you, Chris. There is, life is very different now. And there's some things that have made me a bit nervous. There's one thing that I'm always a bit scared of, and that's speed bumps. I've always had a fear of speed bumps, but I am slowly getting over them.
Hey.
Time goes by quick. Time goes by really quick. And talking about time, one time my 8 o'clock. You ever 8 o'clock before? It's really time consuming, especially if you go for the second.
Oh my God.
Hey, that was like 2 jokes in one that time. And I was talking about travel earlier. Don't trust the airports, because one time I sued the airport. Yeah, I lost my case. Yeah. No, it's not easy. I was where was I going? I was going to France. They eat a lot of snails in France, but they don't like fast food. That's what I'd say. But listen, before you're falling asleep, I'm gonna swiftly bring on our next act. Now, this guy I performed alongside with Chicken Box Comedy, which is an Irish comedy club, which is fantastic. So we are traveling to the Emerald Isle to see a performance with my good friend. So please welcome this great guy to the stage. You're going to love him. Please welcome Eamon McElwee.
Hello, folks. Thank you for the welcome. Folks, they say in comedy, you should always start with a really strong line. Unfortunately, I had 2 there just before the handover, so we got us a fucking show tonight. Buzzing me fucking tits off here. But here we are, folks, via the magic of video link. The last time I appeared via one of these, I ended up with a £1,500 fine, a restraining order, and a 2-year town centre ban, suspended for 6 months. My attorney demonstrably not the freaking animal his website so proudly boasts. But this whole format, it actually works for me, and it's helped make a dream come true tonight, as it goes. My wife's, in fact, no less. At the start of every year, on New Year's Eve, myself, my wife, always sort of tell each other a simple wish that we have for the year ahead. And this year past, on New Year's Eve, my wife said that her only wish for the year ahead is that I should die alone in the garage. And here we are. She's such a kidder, my wife. Like, how did she even know I'd be doing comedy out here? So 2020, you big hateful bastardy. What a year it's been, folks, so far, and we're not even through it yet. It's been a nightmare for everybody. We've had lockdown, and that's been pretty tough. It's been that wonderful juxtaposition. While I've been delighted not to have to spend time around other people, I quickly came to terms with the realization that the one person you can't self-isolate from is your inner self. I once made the mistake of finding my inner self. He's a fucking prick, and I've been stuck with him ever since. My lockdown's essentially been 6 months of ourself homeschooling and this cunt. So what else have I done, folks? During lockdown, I tried to reconnect with religion over the period. That didn't fucking work. My relationship with Jesus could be best described as sexually tense. You see, I like Jesus, but he loves me, and that's just not going to work. Jesus loves you. They're fine words, and it's a beautiful gesture. I think we can all agree, but it's a simply horrendous thing to hear in a Mexican prison. Jesus, he love you. No me gusta, Jesus. No me gusta. Only messing God. Yeah, big non-existent fuckery. And of course, another feature of lockdown, folks, has been the government's daily briefings, which have merely served to highlight that the Tory party are little more than a conveyor belt of bastards. You know, it's like the worst generation game ever. Just each one coming along somehow more odious and fucking repulsive than the one previous. You wonder how they could do it. I mean, first up, we've got Boris Johnson, a PM whose tenureship has been just over the period been reduced to angry posh noises and interspersed with schoolboy Latin. Boris Johnson es mundus excrementi. A little Latin joke there just to show my versatility, folks. And after him on the conveyor belt of shite and shame is we've got a straight up fucking psychopath as health minister in Matt Hancock, something you probably don't really want during a pandemic. You know, Mr. Hancock's a fucking tragic, weak, socially inept man, devoid of empathy and with an unquenchable thirst for watching people die, it would seem. After that, we've got coked up, odious toad Michael Gove. And he's a real curious one, Michael Gove. He somehow manages to look more like Harry Enfield playing a coked up Michael Gove parody than he does himself. It's fucking nuts. Well, I mean, it's actually coke, actually. We know that much we know. After that, we've got Asian Uncle Tom Prati Patel. Now, well, I understand it's a bit of a prerequisite to be a bit of a bastard to be Home Secretary. She's made it her very raison d'etre. She's a fucking vile human being altogether. And last up on the conveyor belt of shame, we have the pigeon-headed, oxymoronic Tory Minister for Care. They're trolling us at this stage, folks. Miss Helen Whately. Now, I don't know if you're very au fait with Miss Whately, but she looks like she should be prevailing of the services she's presiding over. The woman would be out of her depth in a puddle. I don't know. I confess, I don't know what fucking posh girls are good at. Hockey, blowjobs, but even if she should excel at both, which she fucking naturally won't, she's just been horribly over promoted. And then finally on the conveyor belt, they're all, of course, oversaw by the Emperor himself, fucking Dominic Cummings. And you ever see the state of that man? He looks like somebody's just kicked Gollum through a fucking charity shop. But we shouldn't laugh, you know, it's a joke, we shouldn't laugh, but he's exceptionally dangerous. He's unelected and he's running the country and we should be fucking immensely angry. But I'll end with a few brief words about myself and we'll see if we can discover a little of the man behind the attempted funny. My name, as told at the beginning, is Eamon McElwee. And I'd be the first to concede it's not a very showbiz fucking name. You know, it's a sort of name that kicks around words like the victim was named locally as, or the defendant. What else about me? I'm a 44-year-old fucking train wreck, man, as you can probably see. And comedy's the next big thing for me on my ways to make it big, you know. And of course that won't work either, but I really sincerely fucking hope it does, because next up is Join the Sugar Babes. It's not as ridiculous as it sounds when you accept the fact that band's had more members than Katie fucking Price. So And I don't know if you can remember the Sugar Babes or you remember them well, but they used to actually have an Irish member. Her name was Siobhan Donaghy. Do you know what I mean? And she was visually the embodiment of ancient Ireland. You know, this girl couldn't have fucking looked more Irish. She looked like the bastard love child of Enya and the Bus Erin Red Setter. You know, like a child's drawing of a witch, but with a really lovely silky red coat. But folks, on that haunting visual, I'll hand back to Conor. And just before I go, obviously we're all very aware the arts has been struggling for a period now. I want to thank everybody for viewing, Conor for putting the show on. And as a wise man once said, science allows us to live longer, the arts to live better. And back to you, Conor.
Amazing, yeah. All right. Okie dokie. Everybody, please give it up for Eamon McElwee.
Thank you.
That was fantastic, man. Absolutely loved that. Great to have you on the show. And, you know, you're right. You know, I feel like a bit of a train wreck myself. I've not got a job. I mean, I have jokes about unemployed people, but none of them work. One thing.
Oh, God.
Yeah. One thing I've been liking to do in lockdown is play a wee bit of Scrabble. And one time we were playing, right, and my brother put down the word Armageddon, and I didn't know what that word meant, and he was laughing at me, and I said, "Well, so what if I don't know what Armageddon means? It's not the end of the world."
Oh my God.
So, folks, I am going to swiftly bring on our third act. So the way I do this is okie dokie, and easy piece of cake. So please bring on the amazing Veronica Garza. You're up. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Well, so a lot of people shit on Zoom shows and Zoom mics. I love it. Like, where else would I see an Irish man attempt to do a Mexican accent? That was like, I didn't even need to bring out my passport. Like, thank you. This is so good. Like, and I mean, that's better than I could do it. I'm Mexican. So I was like, that's my uncle now. I didn't know that. No, I'm fifth generation Mexican American, which means I've been in the U.S. long enough that I should have my life together, but I can use like being Mexican as an excuse. It's a very good place to be, I guess. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I'm loving these like Zoom mics and shows because like, who goes to comedy shows? Ugly people, but. The only person I see in front of me is, you know, symmetrical me. So I'm always winning right now. It is it's a very good situation. It's true. Like, attractive people don't go to comedy shows. Like, attractive people go to dinner and they want to look at each other's faces. Like, you take an ugly date to a comedy show so you don't have to look at them. And, you know, we do all the work. Let's face it, a lot of people going home after comedy shows probably aren't having sex after that. No, that's just me just talking off the cuff. I don't have a lot to say, man. Like, this pandemic has me like weird. I don't know how to act anymore in public. I was at a show last week. It was an outdoor show, of course. And the comedian on stage was like, "Who here's ever had chlamydia?" And I was just like, "Me, right here." You know, I just happened to be at the house. I sounded like Lauryn Hill. I was like, "Times," you know. Like, it was a very exciting thing. Changed porn for me. This pandemic changed the porn. I had a dream that a woman took her mask off the other night and blew me a kiss. And sexually, that's all I need for the rest of the week now. Like, this pandemic has changed me so much. I used to open up the door and be very chivalrous to other ladies. Now I don't touch shit. You know, if a woman has a stroller or a carriage and she's walking through kids through a door, you know, she's gonna have to figure it out herself. Stupid fertile bitch. You know?
Yeah.
it's changed me. That's what I'm saying. This pandemic, we're all different people now. It's weird. Got a lot of free time, obviously, to think about shit. You know what I'm not for? Like, I was thinking, we tried to get rid of like toxic masculinity. We're trying so hard to get rid of it, and I just think we need a little bit. We need a little bit, just enough to keep grown-ass men from riding out in public on razor scooters, or from attempting to, getting an electric bicycle. Just a little bit of toxic masculinity to be like, you're not a man, don't get on that shit. It's true. It's just that's the thing. I need a lot of people were talking about what is it? Now that we're like, no one has money, we should cancel student debt. No, I think a couple you need to be reminded that you wasted some people's time. For instance, I have a friend who majored in 16th century romance languages. They're perpetually single. They're romancing nobody. And they owe a lot of people and a lot of professors apologies. You wasted a lot of people's times is all I'm saying. It's true. Some people, like, one of the things in America, we don't have universal health care. A lot of people are really pushing for universal health care. And honestly, I don't think we're ever going to get there because we still have restaurants here that charge you extra for guacamole. It's the priorities first. And it's amazing. We're just so far behind, I don't want to say I'm a feminist. I just don't sound like it too much. It's just happy. I'm just happy to talk to anybody else right now. My girlfriend and I did the first 3 months of the pandemic in her studio apartment. Just one room. That's the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom. And I don't want to shit or talk shit about it, mainly because I'm reminded of how little room I had to take a shit in that apartment. But also, it's weird when you go through a pandemic with your partner and your dog in a studio apartment, like a month and a half in. Like, you should have heard me. I just started sounding like Trump. Like, I was just like, you know what? I think we should build a wall. In that apartment, right? Like, I was like, you know what? I'll fund the wall. I'll put in the work. And I'm gonna ask her, like, waking her up, asking her, like, can you sign a petition to build a wall? In that apartment. It's that's all I wanted. Very simple request. Man, I sound like I hate America. We all do. It's true. I mentioned my girlfriend and I living together. Like, we moved in together, and when you move in with your partner or you find out all these new things about them. For instance, she found out that I'm allergic to strawberries, and I found out that she's allergic to cleaning. It's very weird allergy. Benadryl, no antihistamine can help her. That's just the burden she bears. But actually, I'm cleaning a lot in this apartment, and I actually got injured while vacuuming, which I've never felt so Mexican in my life. But I got injured while vacuuming, and I hurt my back. The part of my back I hurt is it's called the sciatica, and I don't know if people are familiar with it, but your sciatica is the part of your back that injures the moment you have health insurance. Like, that's when that hurts. Let's think. Someone, what was he talking about? Jesus. We were talking about God, Catholic. I'm Catholic, and I get a lot of shit for it. And I don't follow really traditional Catholicism. That's the good thing about it. Like, for instance, I saw this a picture of Jesus Christ playing basketball, crossing over the devil. That's the type of Catholic I am. You see what I'm saying? Like, yes, Jesus died on the cross, but also look at that dope crossover. You know what I'm saying? He's a dope man, and we don't give him enough credit off the dribble, is what I'm saying. Once my boob itched when I started praying in church. That's when I knew God was a freak. That's how I know God exists. That's how that goes. And I think that's pretty much all the stuff I want to work on. This was so fun, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Everybody, give it up for Veronica Garza.
Hey.
That was absolutely fantastic. That was a brilliant set. We've been all over the world now. We've had Ireland. Now we've had Mexico. That's simply outstanding. As I was saying earlier, love a wee bit of Scrabble. You know, there's a secret letter S. With letter S, you can make a new word, right? You can always make a new word, and that's why I love it. But you know, like one time I put down the words sugar, yeah, and I said to my brother, I said, hey, you know, the word sugar is the only word in the English language where the letters SU make a shoe sound. And he said to me, are you sure? Yeah, do you know, don't you hate it when people answer their own questions? Yeah, I certainly do. So we're going to bring on our next act. Now, this guy, I've seen him perform before, and he's a really funny guy. You're going to absolutely love him. So please welcome to the stage my amazing friend. It is Andy Milne. Hey, how are you, everybody?
Hello, how are you tonight?
Fantastic, man.
That's great. Lockdown's changed for a lot of people. Certainly changed for me. I never thought I'd be sat in front of my computer on a Friday night. Wait a minute. Nothing's changed. My little brother, he absolutely hates the C word. So that makes it difficult to describe him. He looks like Father Christmas. You all thought I was going to call him a cunt. He used to have a drinking problem. He'd get milk and add Coke. Ugh. Yeah, he's a lot better now. He now adds meth. That's a weird combination because the milk's good for your teeth, the meth, not so. What's going to win there? His dealer's going to win that one. I make fun of him because I know he can't hurt me. Not because of social distancing, no, but he's lazy. He's 300 miles away, and he's not going to want to wake up his reindeer. My older brother says that I'm one of the best men he knows, which is fucked up. I don't think he knows people. I'm an asshole. Then again, I think he does know people because most people are assholes. Certainly in Cornwall, for stars. It's quite weird because I don't know why he thinks I'm one of the best people he knows. He's a builder. My brother, he's a manager of a shop. I do comedy. They've got real jobs. My wife, she supports me doing stand-up, but she doesn't think I should pursue that as a career. It's like, yeah, honey, follow your dreams in moderation. If you reach for the floor. But I think it's one of three things. It's either, with COVID, it's just a terrible time to chase stand-up comedy as a career. Or more likely, she's concerned that if it does take off, I'll be spending days or weeks away from home, missing out on spending time with her and the kids. Or even more likely, she thinks I'm not funny. I'm sure she's not alone there. No, she's very supportive. The day I told her I wanted to do stand-up was the day before she told me she wanted to work nights. It's a bit awkward because it would mean that we would have to get a babysitter. And I don't trust babysitters. Not because I've seen too much porn. I'm worried that I'm going to come home my house is going to be empty. The kids are gone. And then my phone rings. Hello? Is this the babysitter? Shut up, motherfucker! And they'd be right. That's how babies are made. We've got your kids. When can you come and take them back? They were more than we expected. Find us people, assholes. Sorry, I always laugh at my own jokes because no one else will. My youngest is going through a horrible phase at the moment where he keeps putting stuff in my drink. Like, food, toys, any random shit he finds. That's a real bad habit, because if I don't kick that now, he's going to grow up and he's going to put Coke in milk, or Coke in whiskey, or roofies in whiskey. And that's fucking terrible. I think we can all agree on that. But I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. I'll raise him right and make sure that he always respects whiskey. He's still being breastfed at the moment, and I do sometimes get a little bit jealous when I'm watching him feed. God, I wish I had tits. Before lockdown, I was in this pub and I saw this woman breastfeeding, and this guy over the counter, he goes, "That's disgusting, cover up." What the fuck is wrong with people? 2020. So what if I'm naked? Have you ever seen those full-length mirrors in hotel bathrooms that are right behind the toilet? They're fucking weird. I never want to go to a toilet and lock eyes with someone. It's too awkward. Where am I supposed to look? I don't want to look at someone pissing. I don't want them to look at me. And to make matters worse, he's fucking bigger than me. Fuck you, me. Sorry. I do think it's funny, though, that men always like to be told that they're the biggest their partner's ever had. Women fucking hate it. And that's all I've got for you tonight. You guys have been a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Yeah! Give it up for Andy Milne. That was outstanding, Andy. I really liked that. Well done. That was epic. But yeah, amidst all the laughter, there is sad times. Lockdown, coronavirus got quite personal for me recently. The guy who wrote the Hokey Cokey recently died. And it was a nightmare getting him buried because, they put his left leg in, he put his left leg out. Yeah, the rest of it. But anyway, so many deaths, countless deaths. But I thought there's a business idea here. So I went to my local funeral director and I said to them, "Hey, I've got an idea for you. What do you think about glass coffins?" And he says, "Remains to be seen." So Dundee Comedy Club is gonna hop on the bus and we're gonna go down to Cornwall for our next act. So please give a very warm welcome to this next act. You are gonna absolutely love him. It's the amazing Ian Bowden. Yeah, on you go, mate.
Thank you, Conor. Now, a lot of people are amazed that I do stand-up comedy because I'm normally quite a shy guy. You're so brave, they say. Now, I'm a bit like Conor on planes, and if you see me when a plane is landing, you totally disagree with that, much as the Virgin Atlantic air hostess did when I handed her my sick bag. But as for comedy, I don't find it daunting at all because in 1995, I decided to sign up for a week-long professional wrestling camp. Now, bear in mind, this is a guy who quit the army cadets because he got a grass rash crawling through some reeds. This is a guy whose final school report for PE honestly read, "Ian makes the best of his very limited ability." I soon discovered that being thrown upside down does hurt. And I spent half the time bathing in deep heat. But my time at wrestling camp became infamous for another reason. was one night I was in the dormitory listening to a tape on my Walkman. Now, for your youngsters out there, a cassette tape was the predecessor to CDs. And a Walkman is what you do when you don't want to run, man. Fellow campers wondered what I was listening to, but instead of just asking me, took out the tape and put it in a boombox. Again, youngsters, a boombox is a portable stereo speaker system, not an IED. But I didn't object. Share and share alike, I thought, because that's who I was listening to. Now, can anyone guess one thing that's worse than a 17-year-old boy listening to a tape of Cher singing Turn Back Time? I'll tell you what it is. It's a 17-year-old boy listening to a tape of himself singing to a backing track of Cher singing Turn Back Time.
Okay.
Normally, I am quite a very modest guy, but teenage me liked the sound of my own voice for some reason. I actually have video footage of me singing both parts of Summer Nights in Disney World. So epic was the performance. I went back a year later and they recognized me. I spent 8 hours in a Spanish karaoke bar, so I consider myself to be an international singer. And more recently, I serenaded the famous Cornish comedian Jeffro in an Eminem onesie. The sweet set is not the rapper. But anyway, I digress. Boys at wrestling camp found this highly amusing and wanted me to go to the trainer's room. Now, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, so I was quite reluctant to do this, but they twisted my arm, literally. And they said, save up all your tears or the beat goes on. After all, what more could he possibly want after spending all day teaching testosterone-filled teenagers how to throw a clothesline without killing each other? I'd have to have a heart of stone not to enjoy it. So we went on over and knocked on his door. Bang, bang. Not sure whether he enjoyed it or just wanted to make everyone else suffer, but the next day I was made to do a live performance in the wrestling ring in front of the whole class. Now, I'm like I said, I'm normally quite shy, but somehow I decided I was strong enough and perform what I did with emotional fire. I even stood on the top rope. Turnbuckle time, if you will. After standing in the middle of a wrestling ring, singing into an empty Coke bottle, to a backing track of myself singing, to a backing track of Cher singing Turn Back Time, the thought of a couple of drunks saying your shit on stage doesn't really faze me at all. So Ian, the karaoke kid Bowden, was born, and I have got the proof there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And private performances of all 8 of the Cher songs I slipped into that story are available at a fee. But I guarantee you won't be able to stop singing Cher songs in your head now, no matter how hard you try. Right. I have made it sound like that wrestling camp was a complete sausage fest, but there was a girl at the wrestling camp and she was really into submission. But I never got to see her ring entrance. Won't surprise you to learn that I have been single for 8 years. I haven't had sex since before they elected Pope Francis, which is ironic because I'm pretty sure the next time I come it will just be a puff of white smoke. And popular to contra opinion, you can actually buy condoms in the Vatican, but you can only use PayPal. Despite being single, I'm always prepared. I even have a savings account, especially for condoms, or as I like to call it, my Johnny Cash. I love novelty condoms. My favourite ones recently are some Chinese takeaway flavoured condoms called Hoisin Dick. Don't know why I'm single. I appreciate women like I appreciate fine art, hung on the wall for everyone to enjoy. A girl once told me I made the earth move as I buried her alive. She should have been so ungrateful. She came home one night and I left her a trail of roses from the front door to the bedroom. Now, I thought that was romantic, and she just complained because she couldn't get the chocolate out of the carpet. I hasten to clarify she is still alive. She's now married with kids and she moved to Reykjavik. Apparently they've got great schools and leisure facilities. That's why mums go to Iceland. My last relationship was doomed from the start because she was a lifeguard and I can't swim. I should have seen the red flags. First few dates went okay, but one night I took over my collection of jazz music for us to make love to. But it turns out that's not what she meant when she said she was really into scat. She said I was vanilla, so I attempted to prove her wrong, and I went to a blindfolded bukkake session. Don't know what came over me.
No.
Little known fact about me is I have a 9-inch cock, if you measure in total area. Seriously, a girl once called my penis Hovis because she said it's the best thing since sliced bread. That and it's rather crusty.
Oh.
She turned out to be bisexual. She wanted best of both. Once got cautioned for masturbating in front of a shop assistant. Apparently that's not what I mean by first come, first served.
Oh.
Then there's the time I walked into a Spanish restaurant and spanked the waitress. Again, not my fault. She clearly said I was welcome to tapas.
Oh,
Got slapped in the face by a woman the other day. All I did was say she reminded me of one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. In hindsight, when she asked which one, I should have gone with the Northern Lights rather than the Grand Canyon. I like my women like I like my cheese. Locked in a cave until they mature. So, ladies, if you, after all that, you are interested, I am experienced in long-distance relationships, whereas my ex calls it a restraining order. All I ask is you laugh at my jokes, but if you didn't laugh at my jokes, that's absolutely fine because I love a girl with no gag reflex. Thank you, that was brilliant. I'll hand you back to Conor.
Yeah. Fantastic. Everybody give it up for Ian Bowden.
Hey.
You know, that was fantastic, Ian. I really like your one-liners. But you know, we're moving on to our second last act of the evening. Time flies like an arrow, and fruit flies like a banana. I tell you, yeah, it's rough for some people in lockdown. I had a friend, you know, he's kind of old now, but he's lived a good life. You know, he fought in the army. He was in the army. He got mustard gas. Yeah. Then, you know, one day he was walking down the street. Years later, he got pepper sprayed by the police. So mustard gas, pepper spray. Being in the army, he is what you call a seasoned veteran. Now, folks, I'm really excited now. We are going to go from one MC to another MC. This great guy, he hosts the Reckless Comedy podcast, and he's a very funny guy, and it's a great show. I recommend you go check it out. It's brilliant. So please, welcome to the stage, my great friend. This is Kym Nash.
Hey.
Thank you. Yes, you join me in a different room. Those who have seen the Reckless Comedy live shows, you will know normally I'm in darkness, but I see the light, and also there's a random woman on my wall. Must get that restraining order removed. Let me tell you a bit about myself. My name is Kym, and my name is actually unisex, which I think is a lie for 2 reasons. Number 1, I could never afford uni. And second reason why I think my name being unisex is a lie, I don't get sex. You guys are laughing. Whenever I do this on like Zoom shows, they're all laughing, and I'm just like, proof. Recently, one of my friends told me that I have a messiah complex. Now, for those who don't know what a messiah complex is, it's a psychological condition when you think you're Jesus, okay? I said to my mate, after he told me that you have a Messiah complex, I said, no, I have a Judas Iscariot complex, which means 2 things are going to happen. 1, someone's going to get crucified at the end of the week. And second of all, I'm going to end up hanging myself because of it. Yeah. Learning the Bible through comedy. I have a lot of Catholic friends, and I find it hard talking to my Catholic friends because no matter what I want to talk about, it's always a touchy subject. I must get that restraining order renewed on the priest. There's a reason why I'm an atheist. Something recently, you know, with lockdown, it's all been a pain in the ass, or as Freddie Mercury would say, a pain in the bollocks. Yeah, lockdown's been a huge pain. Obviously, the UK isn't in a second lockdown yet. Don't hold your breath. Ironically. But yeah, lockdown's been a pain. Recently, before I went through a breakup, my girlfriend after lockdown said to me, "Would you like me to come over and Netflix and chill?" And I went, "Honey, I've been Netflix and chilling for the last 3 months. What is different? What's the difference now between Netflix and chill? You know, before lockdown, Netflix and chill was, you know, Netflix and chill. But now it's more like Netflix, cough, end up on the ventilator, and then chill." I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a bit of a cunt. Runs in the family. But yeah, this breakup I went through, it was one of those breakups that, you know, someone says something and the other person doesn't like it. Karen. The way this relationship ended was I was, you know, doing the sex. Who does the sex anymore? I thought sex is banned. Is it banned? I don't know. But I was doing the jiggle, as I call it. And I said to her during sex, and I highly recommend you do not say this, any men who are in relationships, do not say this to your girlfriend when you're having sex, that her ass looked like a pan of chocolate. Don't say it. The funny thing is about that is it's annoying because I should have stopped there, but I didn't. Decided to go, your ass is like a pan of chocolate because it's crusty and it's got a filling. And it's slightly out of date as well. Jeez. Right. To be honest, that joke's put me off croissants altogether.
Yeah.
Almost croissants can go fuck themselves. But I've actually fucked a girl that tasted like an almond croissant. Now in the reduced section of the aisle. He's right over there. But yeah, you know, like COVID's been a huge pain in the ass. You know, like the podcast started. You know, you should go check that out. Gotta get that cheeky plug in there because otherwise, I don't get paid at the end of the week. I pay myself. How does that freaking work? You know what? I'm gonna finish on this because my mind is always in darkness, which is actually a line from Jesus Christ Superstar. So we're gonna make more Jesus references. One thing, my mum is she's a lovely lady. Cat, nothing. Recently, I witnessed something which I don't think anyone had ever witnessed with their own mother. Okay. And that is, recently my mum had a sexist rant with a tin opener. Yes, the reaction is just what I'm expecting. I'm there in her kitchen, socially distanced. Don't know why. We're in the same household. No, we're not. And I'm there in the kitchen, and she's opening this tin, and she's getting quite anxious. And I'm like, "Do you need a hand?" And she's like, "I hate this fucking thing." And I'm like, "Okay, woman, who's on your period this time?" And she's like, "I don't like this tin. No wonder it won't work because it's made by men and men are all useless." And I'm like, "Excuse me, bitch, your son is stood right here. And then your other son is in the other room and your husband is down the end of the corridor." And then she ended it with, "If it was made by females, it would always work." And I'm like, have you met my girlfriend and have you seen her vagina? Have you seen it? It is disgusting. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a brilliant and sympathetic audience. I'm going to hand it over to Conor. He's doing a brilliant job, and obviously he says that I'm an inspiration. Don't set my ego off, you know, like. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pass back over to Conor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, all right. Everybody, give it up for Kym Nash. No, it's lockdown. It can be tough. You know, there's so many things that you can get addicted to, and you know, I'm in Dundee right now. That's where addiction is. You know, a hobby. It's quite an attractive hobby, in fact. You know, and well, I have a friend in Dundee who's addicted to brake fluids, but he says he can stop at any time. In fact, I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm all clean now. So, folks, sadly, and you know, this has been a wonderful night. We are now on to our final act of the evening. So, please give a very warm welcome to this person. We're going, and you're going to love her. She's absolutely fantastic. This is the amazing Maggie LeVine. Okay, yeah, the floor is yours. Yeah.
And thank you for saying my name right. My name is Maggie, and I live in New York City. COVID hotspots. Wait, so I have to bring up one good thing about this. Cool fashion accessories. Yes, you buy these in all different colors, mix match with all your outfits. Just remember, do not wear white masks after Labor Day. So I was researching my family history because I figure if you're going to go out in the world all screwed up, it's nice people go back and find something to blame it on. Well, it turns out I'm part Canadian, and Canadians are known for being very polite. Does not work very well here in New York City. I learned that the hard way. Like once I almost got hit by a cab crossing the street. Now, anybody else in that situation would be like, hey, fuck you, asshole. Me, I was more like, excuse me, sir. Sorry to bother you, but would you mind making love to yourself? Well, thank you. You have a lovely evening, too. Some of my ancestors on my dad's side came over in the Mayflower, so we basically invented Thanksgiving. So, okay, I don't know how many of you celebrate Thanksgiving. I just realized this is outside the U.S. But here, yeah, it's like a whole big holiday thing. So if anybody likes the loud, drunken family arguments, endless football games, and 4 a.m. Black Friday sales that we're stuck with here, you're welcome. Yeah, I just realized as I was saying it, wait, there's like one American in this whole group. But anyway, I grew up in a rich town, but we were poor. Like after spring break, all the other girls would come back from Cancun with the golden brown tans, and I came back from Secaucus, New Jersey, looking like a sequestered Irish nun. We also couldn't afford a car growing up. When it came time for me to get my license, my dad took me to the amusement park and taught me to drive in the bumper cars. My art teacher that year always used to say to us, "There's no such thing as a mistake, only happy little pieces of art." I told her, "Great. Can you talk to my parents about that lovely piece of art sitting in their driveway, which is now worth $250,000 at a Museum of Modern Art?" I went to college up in Vermont, very small rural town. The cows outnumber the people up there. I was an English major with a minor in cow tipping. I'm also an ordained minister because, you know, they let any yuts do this online nowadays, loving this modern technology. The cool part about that is that at my old job, I can make up any religious holiday I want, and by law, they have to let me out of work. Yes, I need to leave work early on Fridays. I'm conducting happy hour services at Our Ladies Night at Joe's Bar and Grill. I am a background actor, basically being an extra for movies and TV shows. And we have a certain lingo that we use on set. For example, as you guys probably know, it's a wrap means we're done for the day. Martini shot means it's the last shot of the day, which I very much prefer because when we finish up for the day, I never have the urge to go out for a chicken wrap. My sense of priorities have changed since doing this work. I grew up in the 80s listening to New Kids on the Block and dreamt of someday marrying Donnie Wahlberg. Now I work on Blue Bloods, and I dream of someday being that blur standing behind Donnie Wahlberg. I've also been an extra on Law and Order. When I tell people I worked on that show, they'd all say the same thing. Were you the dead body? The dead body was doing better than I was. I got to join the Actors Union, got paid more than I did, and got to go through a lunch line ahead of me. That show's off the air now. I have to settle for rape victim on SVU. Speaking of rape victims, we do have a problem with a sexual predator in this neighborhood. He's been groping women coming out of the subway. So this local group came up with the answer. They have people out walking their dogs at night by the subway. They need to escort people home coming off the train. Okay, I think this is a great idea because now I come off the train late at night. I see Miss Nussbaum, my 90-year-old neighbor, walking the Chihuahua Fifi. I feel so much safer already. I'm sitting there like, all right. Nussbaum, Fifi, you're with me. That guy's coming after me. He's getting to you bitches first. Yeah. Doing more of a diversion. I'm pretty sure I can run faster than a 90-year-old woman in a Chihuahua. So it's peak of fall here, and I gotta tell you, not a fan of fall at all. I mean, don't like cold weather. I can't stand apple cider, and I don't get excited about leaves changing colors. Now, if those leaves could somehow turn into peacocks, okay, I might get excited. These peacocks, they have their little dazzling display. Anyway, I was up. Anyway, fall is especially a big thing up in New England. I was up there last weekend, and everywhere you go, there's places where you pick your own apples, you pick your own pumpkins. Yeah, we actually have places here in the city that have that, but we call them supermarkets. I flew across country recently on Virgin Airlines. Had a little trouble getting to the Mile High Club, but I was sitting in the exit row. So before he took off, the flight attendant came over and told us that, we have this great responsibility because in the event of an emergency, we have to help out with the evacuation. Our compensation for this extra task, free booze. So, I'm going to come down after my third martini. We're going to have a problem here. Okay, we have a Yeti living in our building. Best way to describe is picture like a troll thing that you stuck in the end of your pencil. Picture one of those coming out of its apartment. Walking 10 feet to his mailbox. I'm bringing 10 feet back to his apartment. And that was pretty much it for the rest of the day. One time I came home from work and his family was cleaning out his apartment. They spent an entire week hauling all this junk out of his apartment that is basically the size of this room. Welcome to New York City living. So, if you ever catch that Bigfoot Waters, the crossover episode, you'll see me in the background. Okay, so I think that's about my time. So, if you guys should ever visit New York City, I just want to give you a couple words of advice. One, do not play Angry Birds while standing in front of a police station. Nothing pisses off cops more than somebody standing there yelling, "Die, pigs, die!" And also, especially with Black Lives Matter being a hot topic around here, do not go around calling people the N-word. Ninjas hate to be identified. So I'm Maggie LeVine, and you guys are a great audience. Have a good night, day, whatever the hell it is where you are.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Hey.
Amazing. All right. Hey, everyone, give it up for the amazing Maggie LeVine.
Yay.
That was fantastic. What a wonderful way to end the show. And sadly, it is, I'll just have to find new ways to pass the time. I've got a quite a bad addiction right now, a Twitter addiction. I wanted to see my doctor. I said, doctor, I've got a Twitter addiction. And he said, sorry, I don't follow you. I got to be locked down. Doesn't scare me, yeah? I've got the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the zoo. You'll be happy to know that's my final joke. That's the show up. So I hope you can just join me in giving an applause and a bit of appreciation for the amazing acts we've seen tonight. Give it up for Christopher, John, Stephen at the start.
Hey.
And we had Eamon McElwee.
Hey.
Fantastic. Veronica Garza.
Hey.
We had Andy Milne. Fantastic, Andy Milne.
Yep.
Ian Bowden, the one-liner daddy, yeah. And Kym Nash from Reckless Comedy.
Hey.
And finally, we had the wonderful Maggie LeVine.
Hey.
Yeah. So, folks, that's us made it to the end of another episode, which means that there probably will be a third episode, because I don't see this lockdown business going away anytime soon. So all that remains for me to say is a very big thank you for those of you that have stayed for 1 hour and 10 minutes of this fun. And goodbye from me and goodbye from all of us here. Yes, have a very good night and we'll see you next Friday. All the best, everyone. Have a good night. See you later.
Hey.